Yeah. Okay. And we're live. Hello, everybody. Um, Carolyn and Peter Booker are here. And there's Allyson. Okay. She made it. There she
All
is.
right. Hi, everybody.
Just in time.
Sorry,
Sure
we
if there
just
was
got
technical.
back from, it's my birthday. We just got back from dinner.
Happy birthday. Oh my God.
Sorry. Actually, it was yesterday, but yeah, we just went to dinner. I'm so sorry. We were supposed to be, the food was late. Blah. It was good, but anyways, just got back. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, I would have wished you a happy birthday today if I had known.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was yesterday, but thank you.
Yesterday. Oh, jeez. So
Happy
everybody,
belated birthday.
happy birthday.
Thank you,
to
thank you,
Allyson
thank you.
and
Hi, Peter.
Oh, how you doing?
Thank you, Carolyn.
So yeah, I told Carolyn and Peter that we had such a great time last time with them on that Allyson
Yes.
were like, "Would you come back?" And I was talking to Peter and Carolyn in backstage, and they're going to be a monthly gig with us. They're
If you'll have us.
Yes, that would be so fun.
Have you? So we'll figure out, from month to month. Right now, I'm not sure what the moving part yet, but as soon as I know what April's going to be like, I'm definitely going to reach out and make sure that we get a Friday scheduled with Carolyn and Peter. I mean, this is a favorite topic for Allyson and I. A lot of us in chat, we just eat the stuff up, and it's also good to know, things to keep an eye out for, especially if people start wanting to investigate on their own and do their own things. We have, professional duo right here, that does it. So thank you so much again for coming back and joining us. And we have, yes, so just get out of here really quick. So people, please put any paranormal questions, personal stories, experiences, dreams, etc., in the chat. I will do my very best to keep up. I asked Carolyn and Pierre today if there was anything specifically they wanted to talk about, what topic. And they said they had a couple stories they wanted to share, but they would be happy to take our questions in chat, or even just sharing our story. So this is going to be tonight. So awesome, excited, and hello, Isadora. Thank you for being here. And yes, we were talking backstage. They did find Riley this morning, so lots of prayers to Riley's family and his friends. So we were hoping, for a different outcome, but that didn't happen.
Okay, I'm just now hearing this because I checked when I got home from work, and
he was found this morning.
I hadn't seen it. It didn't get reported until later.
Yeah, it was like around, I think it was around 10 or 11 or something. I couldn't
find it. Yeah, I looked around 1. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Can we talk about that for a second or no?
Sure. Let's just finish saying hi to everybody really quick.
Sorry,
Nancy is here.
What?
Moira is here. Hello. Hello, Sherry. Welcome. Ramon. And Moira giving Allyson the happy birthdays.
Thank you.
So is Nancy. And Jay.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Hello, Jay. Thanks for being here. I thought you would be. Kaylee, hello. Viviani. Woo, look, everybody popping in the chat. Oh, this is going to be fun keeping up. Lori Hunsinger, hello. And I think we're all caught up. Yes. So Carolyn and Peter and I were talking backstage. They did find Riley this morning. He was pulled out of the lake. According to initial reports, there was no visual sign of foul play, but like we were discussing backstage, not only was I getting these cards and other channels as well, about some sort of something being put into a drink. So for me, there's still, somebody's responsible. I mean, yeah. So Allyson, what did you want to know?
That covered enough of it. I'll research it again later. Again, I checked on it midday. I saw no updates.
Yeah. So it was about 7.
I know. It actually doesn't matter. It was midday, and I did a quick search online. I saw nothing, and I just went about it because I've been following it like everybody else the last couple of days pretty closely, and I've read on it. So Okay. All
So
right.
it's sad. Yeah, they there were workers showing up this morning at about 7:30. It was by a barge. They were pulling stuff up because
I knew they
apparently,
were in the water today.
yeah, they have been for
Oh,
the
Columbia
last
River.
2 or 3. Yeah, the
Yeah,
yeah,
I know, but I'm just saying I know they were back out there,
the
but
Cumberland.
I didn't see anything. So
And they were pulling stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, he came out from under some debris or whatever. And so, yeah, but at least his parents can take him home after the autopsy and they can bury their son. So, but I still feel like there was somebody, somebody put something in his drink. And I know that after he did go missing, um, the stepfather and the mom was getting reports from people local in the area saying, listen, this has been known to be happening a lot lately around here. There's people going around and roofing people. They don't know exactly. They didn't get into details of why, if this was like random here and there, or if there was a group of people doing that to try to maybe catch them off guard later on to rob or something. Nobody knows, but this seems to be an issue right now in Nashville, and it was making it really hard to find him because there are so many homeless camps down by the river, and the amount of garbage that even the city isn't even trying to a lot of the residents were just like, okay, now that the whole world is pretty much seeing what we have to see and live with day in and day out, maybe now this government will step
I
up and start cleaning a little bit more.
we're do we know if, and again, I'll look into this later. I'll just have one question. Do we know if where they found him is somehow, is it like down
Yeah,
from
it's
where the
not far
card was
from where he
found?
was last seen. It was on
8
61st Street,
miles.
8 miles
about 8 miles.
from where the
Okay.
card on the bank was found?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so. They said it wasn't much.
blocked. Yeah.
Okay, so he wouldn't have fallen in where because I was thinking, what if his card had been like in his shirt or something, and he leaned over and it fell out? Because you know how when you are at a bar, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't go, but I know about people, you know what I mean? And you just don't. And I thought, oh, he could have leaned over, especially if he was throwing up or anyway. So he wasn't even found near that card. Okay.
Unfortunately. So, oh, you're still getting lots of birthday wishes, girl. So,
Thank
Viviani,
you.
happy birthday, Isadora.
Thank you. I am
And Jay.
54 years old, for anybody that's wondering. It's my 54th
Oh, so
birthday.
she's older than me for a while. Okay,
Yep.
then I'll be
I
older
can't
than her.
believe it. I was talking to my son
Young here.
yesterday and I was like, he's like, I can't believe that. That's just crazy. I'm like, I know. It's crazy. So, anyways, thank you, everybody.
Oh, you're welcome. So we said hello to everybody. And again, people coming in, Carolyn and Peter have a few stories that they would like to share, but they want to make sure that people put questions, comments, sharing stories in chat, angels, dreams, paranormal. That's what we're here for. That's what we're chatting about. So alien as well, anything that kind of falls under the umbrella of paranormal. And I kind of had like a question set aside for myself as well.
Yeah.
So,
And if you just start doing this regularly, we could have like kind of more of like a theme of what, I mean, connected, but yet and have it more. That's exciting. That's exciting.
I'm super excited. So, yay. Thank you. It's nice when you got something. So Jay's got a birthday coming up too. That's right. She's an Aries girl also.
Yes.
So,
Oh, and happy Aries season, everybody. We are now officially in Aries season. Yep.
and it was Ostara too yesterday. So for all my paganies and Wiccans that celebrate, happy blessed Ostara. And so
And we had the spring equinox on the 19th, although it doesn't seem like it's spring.
It's weird. Yeah. No, it's snowing here. So
It's spring here. Spring here.
And where are you guys? I forgot.
We're in Virginia. Virginia.
We're in Virginia. That's right.
Mhm.
On the
Okay.
sidewalk.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It snowed here today almost all day.
Yep, same here. And tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah. We run
So whatever
from
Michigan gets, we get because we're on the opposite side of the lake. So
Yeah.
it's the gift that keeps the gift that keeps on giving from Michigan.
Yeah.
Over here. But yeah, it's still
Good for the
pretty.
war
It's
site.
light. Yeah. And hello, Froxy Roxy. Welcome, welcome. Just listening. That's fine. You can pull up a cup of tea, coffee, sit back, enjoy. And so, Carolyn and Peter, what did you want to share to kick off the show?
Oh, he makes a suggestion of let's
Okay.
talk about England. And then now he says, what do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, we got married
In a fever. No.
In a
in a
what?
place called Hungerford, which is in West Berkshire, sort of midway in southern England. And it was an old coaching inn called the Bear. And this hotel pub has been there since certainly the late 1400s. It was originally a hunting lodge that belonged to Henry VII.
Wow.
Henry VIII. And parts of it go back to that, but also Queen Elizabeth I was supposed to have stayed in the building. And
Oh, wow.
we had the honeymoon suite, of course, in, and it was purported to be the bed that she slept in. Well, it was a four-poster, you know. And we, of course, were expecting to see something or hoping to see something. But we didn't so much on that particular time, but we went back with some relatives. A cousin from Australia was over, and we went over to the Bear to have a drink. So we were in the bar. And whilst we were in the bar, there was hardly anybody in the pub at all. It was very quiet one afternoon. Everything went stone cold. Level sort of below where we were sitting at the tables, it went very, very cold. Carolyn said, Henry VIII is with us.
And Richard said, oh, he is not. And it's not cold under the table. I said, give me your beer. And I put it under the table and I waited a minute and brought it back up. And he goes, that is freezing. And I said, it's cold under the table.
So why would it be cold under the table if he was there? Why wouldn't it be like?
His energy was down at that level.
Okay.
Up higher, it seemed much warmer where we were sitting, but underneath the table, it was freezing cold. The legs were very, very cold. And Henry made himself known to Carolyn, and she'll probably be able to tell you a little bit more about that. But he then came back to our house. And over the course of that evening, Carolyn and the lady that was staying with us as well had quite a conversation with himself. And he was very, very interested in the two ladies. Of course he was. Yeah. It's not the first time that he should himself be known, but this was quite significant. Remember when you were sat with Samantha outside on the chair, and he was walking around.
He kept walking around her in circles, and I'm going, don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't touch it.
So you're saying that to Kate? So you're saying that to
yeah,
Henry VIII?
yeah.
Okay. Don't touch her. Okay.
Don't touch her. Yeah, and I said, get out of here. I mean, get out.
Oh, I bet you never had a woman tell him to get out, or a woman order him to do anything. You go, girl.
So he was maybe going to be gropey, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. He was like, almost predatory when it came to her. And he was going in circles around her chair. And I know what you're up to. Don't you touch her. Go. Get out of here.
Was he one of the, he was kind of, he had like a whole bunch of wives, right?
Yeah, he pretty much killed them all.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my kings right. Okay.
Yeah, I found out recently that I'm related to him through Henry VII.
Oh, you are.
So a relative told him, get out.
Right. And that might be part of the reason that he even came through, right?
Yes, he
Mhm.
recognized the lineage. Yeah, the family tree.
Yeah, I
Wow.
saw him in Hampton Court.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also at Hampton Court. Well, I haven't
Wow.
seen it. I'd love to see it. I picked things up and I felt the cold energy, but I didn't see him on that occasion, which would be great. But he appeared young, didn't he?
Yeah, he was young. Yeah, he was married to Anne Boleyn then,
Yeah.
which a lot of people think, oh, he was fat and old. Yeah, not when he was married to Anne Boleyn. He was young.
Right.
Mm.
That makes sense too. And don't a lot of times I don't know if it's the same thing. A lot of times they'll show themselves like not necessarily in their prime, but like in their 30s.
Mm.
How they want to be seen.
If they choose to, I think he's chosen that age, to live in
Right.
the spirit world.
Yeah.
So is he still in the spirit world because of the cruelty that he did to the women and people on life? Is he afraid to cross over? Is that
No,
why he's still here?
he doesn't want to let go.
Okay.
He has power and he wants
Right,
to
which
hold
means he's more lower vibration. He's not spiritually evolved.
on. Actually,
I mean, it's so ego.
but he was a staunch Catholic. He really was a staunch Catholic.
Right. But that's
Who
not
like to murder people. That's not really a staunch
but that's
Catholic.
not
If you're murdering
evolved.
women.
I mean, it's so limited and controlling and damnation and hell. That's not spiritual. You know what I mean? It's not.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. He. I mean, you want to take Woolsey out and more. I mean, come on. How well Woolsey deserved it, but
who
Thomas
deserved what?
Well, Woolsey died.
Yeah.
He died a natural death, but he was being called back to answer questions, and they would have beheaded him eventually, but Sir Thomas More they beheaded.
He was a good Christian.
Yeah. So that's why I'm wondering why he's still on Earth, because he did all this horrible. I mean, he murdered people for no reason, no good reason, and so I'm wondering if that's why he's still on Earth. Is not necessarily because of ego, but maybe he's afraid of his life review. He doesn't want, like Allyson said, he's a lower vibration and he doesn't want to evolve.
No, he doesn't want to let go.
Okay.
He doesn't want to let go. Anne Boleyn shows up every once in a while at the tower. When I go to the tower, I feel like I'm home. That's home to me. And I saw I think it's every Easter or around that time.
Yes, she died in February.
You can see my friend who lived there, we were walking from their house to the Yemen Wars Club, and I looked in the church there, St. Peter's at Vigila, and I said, "Oh, there was light up at the top, but it was dark below." And I said, "That's odd lighting." And it was like candlelight. And my friend said, "Oh, she must be in there again." And once a year, she walks from the door with a number of people yeah, and goes up to where her grave is,
Wow.
and then she disappears.
Now, is that
And
residual?
Is
yeah, no, I don't. I think she lives there because I've seen her too many times there.
Okay. Because I know
Why?
sometimes it's like a playback, like their final
Yeah,
moments or something, and it just because the energy is so strong, it just sticks
yeah,
to the walls and things. So I wasn't sure if that was her still stuck to the earth plane, or if that might have been just a residual energy from her life.
yeah. No, I mean, why would you hang around where they took your head off? But again, they got it in the wrong spot. That's not where the executions were.
Yeah, the scaffold site was further over from where
Was
they've got it portrayed at the moment.
It's actually in front of the Jewel House, the Jewel House opening.
So that's
It's
Victorian, that block.
over there. That where they have it in front of the church is not where they did it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Oh.
see, Carolyn was waiting for him to come by. Yes, there we go.
so
Checking out our
gorgeous.
parents.
Oh yeah. But yeah, she followed me home one night, and decided she was going to get cute. And she was standing at the foot of my bed in Kensington. And we
You could
lived
see her.
no, in
Oh,
Kensington.
you could see
No, you could see her.
I could see her in England. And she thought she was going to be cute, and she let her head drop back. Like, yeah,
Like a parlor trick.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, very funny, and very funny. You don't scare me. Go away, little girl.
Like Harry Potter, Sir Headless Nick, and they go,
Yeah,
why, partially in the spirit, and it's
yeah,
just have to, yeah. The minute you
yeah.
said that, I could just see that from Harry Potter. Oh no,
She's obviously got a sense of humor too. So
obviously.
Carolyn, I have a question for you
Hmm.
and for you, Peter. So I've heard here and there, and books that I've read, and da 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 da. And a lot of people piggyback on other people, probably even authors and this, that, whatever. But I wonder how you feel about something. So, um, whether you want to say ghost or spirit or whatever, people that hang out, what about ghosts that eventually I have heard will be retrieved if they don't ever cross over on their own? Can you talk a little bit up to that?
They can be called home.
Like, is there a certain time only when that's done, or when would it not be done, or from the best of your understanding? I mean, if you can, I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Well, this new era we're going into, there's a lot being taken up. I mean, you can see them just, you think you're seeing
Leaving.
stars, and you're not seeing stars. That's the souls going up.
Wow.
And they're all over the world going up. But I think during that time, if you're up to no good, I think they'll get you by the back of the neck, and whoop, off you go.
And
You
bring you
know,
back, or
yeah, or make you come. Pull.
make you go up.
Yeah, yeah. You're not gonna pull that.
So they're going to keep people from going up who are trying to leave. They're going to bring them back down because they're not elevated enough to go to ascend, or
If they refuse to go,
oh, they'll get yanked. Okay, that's what you mean. Okay.
yeah, if they refuse to go. I think there is a time limit on how long you have. But I think that time limit is limited to each person. It's different.
Right,
Okay.
based on what you've experienced or
What,
done or whatever.
or what you're likely to do.
Or soul path, likely, yeah. I mean, some of these people, like you said, Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, that's been over what, 400 years or so, and they're still here, and they haven't ascended. So it makes you wonder why they haven't. You know, that's why I was wondering if it might have been because, like with Henry VIII, he was afraid because of all the awful things he did. That's a lot of karma and stuff that you have to answer for, you know, on the other side. So
Well,
that was my thought process.
I think that Anne is around because Elizabeth is still around.
Her daughter,
Her daughter.
Elizabeth I.
Elizabeth I is still around.
Okay, so she hasn't crossed over yet. Okay.
And she hasn't crossed yet because she feels she has unfinished business according to what happened to her mother.
Okay. And that's the Queen Elizabeth that went down in history as, you know, England's greatest queen. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, not
And
necessarily this
it's
last one.
vicious circle.
So they're
In
both
that-
earthbound.
Pardon me?
So they're both earthbound?
At the moment, yeah. Until Elizabeth figures it out, what she needs to figure out about her mother's beheading. And
That's been so many years although already. Wow.
yeah, but he didn't give Anne a chance to get pregnant, as she was pregnant 3 times. And she didn't carry. I think she had a blood disorder like I do. I can't carry 3 months and that's it. You know, I lose them. And I think that's what Anne had. And Queen Anne had it also. She lost 15 children.
Oh my God. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, but yeah, it was all a blood disorder.
Do you think that might be too why they feel a bit of a kinship with you, is because they understand that you are very similar on many ways and that they kind of see you as a kindred spirit?
We're related, so
Well, with the disorder too and everything, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Well,
So
as we've
then
said,
you're. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
if they know you've got a gift as well, they'll latch onto you. As we said before, if you've been dead for 300 years and all of a sudden somebody can see you, you're way.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Can I speak to you a minute?
Yeah.
Or two things can happen to you, like in our old hall. Well, the hall's still there. The courtroom. I used to open the windows every day, the shades every morning, and there's a painting there of the Earl of Effingham, who is the first.
He was the first Sea Lord. He was actually in charge of the fleet that defeated the Armada.
We can't hear you, Peter. Could you?
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
he was in charge of the fleet, the naval fleet that defeated the Armada. Drake was part of it, but it was actually Effingham that was in charge.
And so every morning I would say, when I opened the blinds, I'd say, "Good morning, Effie," you know, and then at night it was, "Good night, Effie," you know. And one morning I was opening the blinds and I said, "Good morning, Effie," and I heard, "Hello," and I went, "Okay, he's talking back now."
Yeah.
And this head came around the corner. He said, "Are you speaking to me?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was speaking to the painting, the, Earl of Effingham." And he said, "Well, I'm the Earl of Effingham."
So that was the spirit.
And
Love
I went,
that.
oh.
Oh, wow. So he
It was
acknowledged
the
you
Earl
saying
of
hi to
Effingham. It was the
you.
present Earl of
The
Effingham.
present Earl of Effingham. I said, oh, I say good morning and good night to him every night. He goes, oh, I love that because that means that he's not forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his name is David, and we we ended up calling him David because that's his name, But it was just funny that all of a sudden here's this head popping around, going, "Oh, are you speaking to me?"
Yes, that's
And it's
hilarious.
the current Earl of Effingham. So
Very good.
funny things like that can happen too.
Yeah.
Just
When,
around the corner from where we used to live, there was a pub that we used to go to quite often.
Hmm.
And this pub is called the Lord Raglan. And it's been there since, it was called the Holly Bush at one time, and it's been there since Shakespeare's time. It's an old coaching inn. And where the actual carriages came in at one time was open, there was a gate and they came in. That's all been built up now. And that's actually where part of the pub is. So we were in there one Friday night, it was really busy. And
Richard was with us that night.
yeah,
Richard.
there's a guy that does ghost walks and things in the city of London.
He's an expert on Jack Ripper.
He's a Ripper expert as well,
Oh, cool.
Ripperologist.
oh,
Yeah. And he was there with us, and we were just chatting. And Carol says, "That's strange. Why am I seeing Annie Oakley?" Annie Oakley. Well, I thought, aha. Annie Oakley was with Buffalo Bill and his circus that I can't remember what he called it now, but it went all the way. Wild Bill hit, yeah, no, Buffalo Bill. It went all the way around the world, and they played certainly in Britain, and they were known. They go out and sort of go to some of the pubs or theaters and what have you, and just do little vignettes to promote their circus. The rodeo or whatever he called it.
They were shooting.
Yeah, but they were actually shooting. Annie Oakley was stood up on a balcony, and she was firing, doing trick shots out into the courtyard. And Carol could see this, and she also saw Buffalo Bill as well. Obviously, the place was absolutely packed with people, and well, I mean, you could hardly hear yourself talking. But she said, "Why am I seeing Annie Oakley?" And of course, I immediately twigged on it, and another one of our party said, "Well, it's to do with the they're staying there back in the probably early 1900s." But interesting that
Isidora's related to Annie Oakley.
yeah,
Well,
Isadora.
Yep, only a little woman. But
Now, am I
again,
the only one that's hearing that little bit of a feedback from Carolyn and Peter? Is that only my end, or can you hear that, Allyson?
I can hear it. It's kind of a rubbing kind of sound.
Yeah, it's like a static one.
I don't hear it, but I don't have anything on.
Okay.
I'm broadcasting this from my phone.
Okay. Just so that's not interfering with people being able to hear Carolyn and Peter. I just want to make sure that
My hands are free. There's nothing in here. I don't know, but I don't hear anything.
so maybe
something pop in there.
Oh, wait.
Stopped again.
Yeah, it stopped again too.
Yeah, I thought I
That's
heard it
interesting.
kind of like a rhythmic.
Could be spirit
Yeah.
too. Some people have problems with their electronics when spirit comes through, so that could very well be it also.
Right?
Maybe it was Annie Oakley saying hi to Isadora.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, it's like
what I was going to say is that was a stone wall. That was a trace memory of them being there. They weren't there.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't interact with them. It was just a stone wall effect.
We did have.
We investigated that that pub.
And then, so when
It's
you're
in-
talking earlier about Henry VIII, and you were talking about it was like under the table, Isadora was asking, this is what, were you like above a basement so that when he stood, only half his energy was like half in the room and half in the basement because of how it might have used to be built, you know, that where foundations are removed. So where you were experiencing cold underneath the table, was that possibly?
That's possible.
That's possible. We don't know what's underneath it.
I
So
can't imagine that the pub or the inn would have changed that much over that time.
and there was a lot of people leaving that room that night during
I bet.
that cold. They were taking their drinks and going,
Yeah, we were the only ones that stayed in the room.
because I knew what it was, and it was like, okay, I'm going to have to take care of somebody. Henry.
And you're like, Henry. That's my dad's name. Rhonda shared really quick one of her experiences when you were talking about her being at the end of the bed. I had a male spirit laying down about a foot above my bed. He snored loudly. Sounds like me. He reached towards my neck, and I stood up and told him to get out, and he did.
Yep.
Yeah, she took command. Yeah. And that's what you need to do. Get out. You have
And
no power here.
thank you, Sharon, for putting our links into chat. Much appreciated. Was there anything you wanted to ask, Allyson?
I have another question, actually. So I heard something. I've heard so many different things, and honestly, a lot of this I just don't even think we would know until we're crossed over ourselves. But you know, when you have somebody really horrible, like Adolf Hitler. Okay, we'll take somebody that, you know, existed like that. I heard recently from somebody that I know very well. It doesn't even matter who it was. And they learned from something that they follow and read and whatever else, that it's believed, and this is the first time I'd heard this, but I'm hoping that this is true. When you have somebody that as a soul has done something that horrifying, that unforgivable, that saturated with evil and badness and darkness and all of that, that there is nothing further for them. That as a soul, they're basically fragmented and thrown into the their soul is eradicated.
They're nothing.
Right. So you wouldn't see Hitler reincarnate and come back and all of that. That's BS.
They cease to be.
Thank you.
Oh, so when he died, his energy just ceased to be, because they say that energy can't be destroyed. So
there would be no life review. There's none of it. It's just, it's done.
None of it.
You're done.
Gone.
So what happens to the energy of your soul, though, of that soul? That just gets absorbed back into the universe and it becomes non-conscientious?
Go ahead, Carolyn. I could explain what I was told, but
it just becomes atoms.
It's absorbed. It's just gone. It's like it all, the way it was explained to me, the whole thing, because you got to think this is, you know, wherever this takes place. I mean, whatever, the other side, whatever, but whoever, whatever, source, whatever, completely, it's basically blown up, destroyed, no more. It's just absolved by whatever.
It never existed. Yeah,
it's gone. It's gone.
It never existed.
Right. Wow. It cannot. It's no more.
No more.
Now, is it true that some souls sign up to do something like that for the earth, to change a course? To, that's something I have a hard time wrapping around my head. That we've had this discussion on one of my other shows on a Saturday night about soul contracts, and that some people agreed to come onto or to incarnate on this planet to do something like that, to change conscious consciousness, or to change, I don't know what kind of good that would do for the
To be
world
a
to have
catalyst.
to,
And as
yeah,
a
a
result
catalyst
of
for
the bad thing that
something.
they do, something good comes of it.
Yeah, I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Carolyn, from what you and Peter understand about the afterlife. I mean, I don't see how that can be. I don't know.
And I don't think any of this is definitive. It's just like
Yet.
thrown around because there's so many theories out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're born a certain way, and it's their choice in that lifetime to make whether they're going to do something really nasty with it or get help. Where years before you couldn't get help for it. Now you can get help for it. You know,
What do you
if
mean get help?
Therapist,
Oh, okay.
psychological.
So back in his time, they didn't see that needing that there was no real exploration of therapy that, well, yeah, I don't know. For me personally, some of the things that I've heard, like how what Allyson said, what she's heard, I've also heard that sometimes, and this is of course just, a train of thought, a way of thinking or perspective, that, people like him, they come more into an incarnate in our realm, more from the lower realms, not, the like the more of the lower energy entities or beings, something kind of like, I can just throw out the word demonic. Is that possible that he could have come from that pool of energy of those types of entities and beings, the dark ones, and chose to incarnate? And because, and then, yeah.
I think they can be influenced by it,
Okay.
which is like I said, they come in with a certain mindset that can be helped if they seek help. But if the dark ones get a hold of them
Mm-hmm.
and they accept that, oh, look what we can give you.
Yeah.
They accept that. And that's where our problem comes from.
So you're saying like the two different things, like I think what Heather's talking about is somebody coming in and they are doing dark things, or they have some sort of crazy planned out. God, there's like three different thoughts here I'm trying to have at the same time. So like
they come from heaven, or they wouldn't come from the upper realms.
Right.
So they can't come in. Okay.
But I think that what happens, like when you have, okay, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. And this isn't really addressing what we were just talking about, but this just came to me. So maybe this is part of it. Take somebody like Hitler, who probably had lives before that life. I'm assuming he had some chances to come in here and make the right decisions, or, clean it up or whatever. Maybe that was his, I don't know. I don't think that you would write that kind of life path. It just kind of happens. I mean, we have all this, like you say, free will, right? Like you do write out a certain plan, is so it's believed to some degree, but you can be influenced or whatever. And I think he had the deal breaker life, and now he's just gone. It's like, well, you completely blew this up, and now you're just done. You don't even exist anymore. But I don't know. I mean, I could say so many different things right now. It's just interesting how so many horrible things are allowed to happen. I think some things we do choose to experience them. I think some of it is karma for something bad that we did in another life. I also think that Heather and I talked about this once, how you can come in, and because there's free will, you can have horrible things that happen on you because sometimes shit just goes sideways. I don't think it's a perfect, plan always. And there's a lot of darkness. This is a dark planet. And so a lot of things happen. And even if you have something planned out, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go that way, because there's so much free will everywhere that it can interfere with your life.
Yeah, well, it's like my great grandmother and my great grandfather killed her. He cut her throat. That was
Right.
not
Like that wasn't the plan.
that was not her choice. She had
Right.
epilepsy,
Wow.
you know.
But
So
that's a
But there's a
perfect
that,
free will.
example.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but he didn't do a day for it. Oh, it was suicide. The worst case of suicide I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know how many lives that affects and
Yeah,
life path
it's
or whatever,
family.
her whole family, her friends, it affect a huge ripple effect.
Yeah,
So, you know, that's why I don't think we have a lot of things written out. I think we have bullet points on our life path, but so much free will is involved. It just has to be.
And those
Personally, I
people
only
who
think
take
it's the
away
big,
our
big,
free will
big, big
too.
stuff. I only think the
Yeah.
big stuff is planned. Who your children will be, who your parents are, a couple exit points maybe of when you could die, some other things. And I think it's pretty wide open, a lot of it, honestly. That's just
Going
me.
back
I think
to
it's only the major stuff that's written in.
going
And
back
I
to
do have.
Hitler, he had a major exit point in the First World War. He was a corporal, just a regular grunt in the army, and he, ironically, a British soldier remembers going through some trenches that they've been shooting and bayoneting people. Horrific. Hitler was one of the people in this particular trench, and this guy remembers seeing him, but for some reason either didn't fire at him or didn't go to stab him or whatever, just kept moving. Of course, ironically, Hitler then got this God complex, if you will, that he thought he was invincible. That was probably one of the nucleus of it, the start. And of course, as he got further up, he became deluded. He believed in part pagan, part Christian ethos.
Yeah.
He was after the Holy Grail, if you will,
Any
because
metaphysical object. Yeah.
Wagnerian uh, epics were that's what he lived for. And he wanted the spear that Christ had been pierced with. In
Yeah.
fact,
Spirit of destiny.
that does exist, of course. It's in Austria, and he wanted that. I mean, that they were searching for.
What an egomaniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what
Oh,
they based the Indiana Jones movies on. Hitler wanted
Yeah.
all of those artifacts. He wanted the, you know,
Mhm.
the, yeah, I can't think of it. The ark. He wanted the spear. Anything that had, he had psychics working. He had people doing remote viewing. He wanted, redoing alien technology, trying to create something called the Glocke, the bell. That was supposed to be a weapon. Yeah, he wanted all of this. He believed in all that. And from what I understand, it took a lot of people on the positive side of psychism, spirituality, and mysticism and magic to really be able to thwart a lot of the stuff that they were trying to get, that he was trying to get his hands on. But just really quick, I do have a chatter who has a question of concern, and that's
Yeah, that's
Karen.
quite.
She says, I do have one question. Are we putting ourselves at risk in watching paranormal investigation shows? I ask because I heard one investigator put it as a warning before their show. If
I'll be
I
right back.
feel uncomfortable, and that's Karen. And I know, Karen, you added a little something else to that, but I didn't get it. She's concerned about she goes, when I feel uncomfortable, I just stop watching, just curious. And that was actually part of a question that I had too for you as well, but I'll let you go and answer that if you like, because her being a chatter.
We never watch anything dark.
No.
If it's about demons, if it's about even a Ouija board is involved, any spells, negative
Yeah.
spells, we never watch it.
Now, when you say negative spells, is that when people Now, I'll take an example and you can let me know. I was watching an episode of Ghost Adventures many years ago, and they went to a place where it was known that people would do satanic rites and read out of a satanic Bible. And though they were bleeping things out, there were certain passages that were starting to come out that they did air. And I told Shan, you know what? No, we're shutting this
Turn it.
off. Would
No.
that be your
Turn it
example?
off.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, like Peter said, you know, I got scratched from one of those programs.
So I was able to come through you. So, okay. So anytime that you watch a paranormal show, if they're doing the spirit box, you're okay unless you can pick up on something that's lower frequency or demonic that's coming through, and then automatically you're like, we're out of here. Okay. Because a lot of us, we may not be able to do that. For me, I don't know. I've been maybe watching these shows for so long that I'll start watching something and I'm like, okay, now is this all for show or is this, because a lot of it's dramatized for, viewership and, to get people to click on and watch all of it. But then there are some where, like that episode of Ghost Adventures where I'm like, honey, I don't feel comfortable playing this. I'm muting this or we'll come back later. Maybe catch the end of this. I don't want this.
The guys were not happy at all.
And his team.
Yeah, Dale and the guys were not happy about that.
Okay, because I'm not talking about the Ghost Brothers. I'm talking about the Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Hunters?
No, not Hunters. Adventures. Zach.
Are you talking about Zach?
Yeah. There were years ago that they were doing something.
Do not watch him. I'm telling you, don't watch him.
He's changed.
If you've noticed, his eyes have changed.
Yeah. Well, he had his eyes damaged in the demon house. And I'm wondering if that got into him.
It got into him. Do not watch him. He will try to influence you.
For entertainment purposes only, YouTube.
Absolutely.
we have to put that little disclaimer out there. So
yeah,
this is just us discussing and sharing our stories and insights. But yeah.
The golden rule, Heather, is if you feel uncomfortable about watching something, you get a bad feeling, switch it off. Say a few prayers, say the Lord's Prayer. I
don't do Lord's Prayer, but okay. I call him Saint Michael.
Absolutely. Yes. Saint Michael as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're not happy about it, you're getting, some feedback from it. Turn it off, go to something else. We can be sitting watching some of these programs and the room will go cold. And I pick up temperatures. I get a feeling in my solar plexus and across the back of my shoulders when something is present. And I usually pick it up sometimes before Carolyn does that there's something. I said there's something here. Now, it can be as a result of watching something on TV. Simple as that.
What about spirit boxes and stuff like that on our channel? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We already talked about that with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have problems with any of the what are they called in New Orleans, the religion.
Yes. The Creole religion. I can't think of what it is at the moment. Voodoo.
No, it's not voodoo.
Santeria.
Santeria. I don't have problems with that. That's a religion. That is what there are no demons. Now, can you tell me what that is in?
Yeah.
Nationwide?
Yeah. I saw Starfish Jenny pop that in there. There are no demons, but for me, I beg to differ from experiences that I've had, but I don't know if you want to address her comment or
I can tell you that there are. and my sister was possessed by one. And
Yeah,
had
and
to
Heather
have,
was attacked by something as a child.
So
yeah,
I know.
sister had to have it because of a Ouija board. Had to have it removed.
Exorcism.
There are
Had to have
demons.
them. And so there are demons.
Unless we're using
So
different words, but
So
yeah.
Starfish
Yeah.
Jenny, what is your perspective? Because this is an open, chat. We respect everybody's perspective. What is, if you can put in chat, if you don't mind, what is your understanding of then the lower level
Negative.
energies and your experience? Did you want to share, anything to go along with your comment? Because we're happy to just have you share whatever you like. There's no disrespect or anything here. We're just having open conversations. And I did get that troll. So if anybody goes back looking for that troll, I got a hold of him. I don't know if anybody
Oh
saw.
God, we had a troll. Ugh.
Yeah,
Did
he
we?
liked he was asking if you were bare feet, Allison. I guess he was kind
If
of,
what?
if you had bare feet where you were sitting.
Oh,
So I'm
oh,
sorry. I see that as a troll. Nobody needs to
so
know if someone's got bare feet.
somebody's got a foot fetish.
I know. So troll be gone, spray. So
Was that a name you didn't recognize?
yeah, it's somebody that's never been in here before. So yeah.
Okay.
Kara Burr said she saw it,
Sure.
but Isadora said there is evil energy in the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, for some of us, we call it demons. Some people call it just negative energies, negative entities. All I know is what went after me as a child. And from what I understand, one medium told me that he was a human who I'm pretty sure I know who it was, in life, but because of the evil stuff that he did in life, that when he crossed over, when he was, when he got killed trying to rob somebody, that soul decided that they were going to stay here and torment our family. And in turn, it ended up becoming kind of like, in like Lord of the Rings, you had before he became Schmeagol, he was the other guy, but once he did something evil and did something bad, then it changed and he became transformed and became demonic like, she saw sharp nails, hunched figure, scrawl, and so for me, that is enough to know that there is. And I think that helped me shut all my abilities down growing up, because my body hasn't been able to sustain, or that's not sustain, but be able to handle any other type of spiritual energy that comes around, because it would automatically go into panic mode, like just full on, fight or flight response. And so, but over the years now, I've gotten control of that because I'm not afraid anymore. I know how to protect myself. But I'm just looking to see if Starfish Jenny added anything to her
Because of
comment.
what
But
I lived through with my sister, I know it's negative. Whatever you want to name it, it's negative.
That's something I wanted to ask too. And I know there's the answer. It may be something completely different or whatever, but I was going to ask you and Peter both. Did you guys ever experience anything that you really were scared of, or that was frightening, or maybe you weren't, and you weren't sure, like you weren't sure how to handle it, like not something where you could generally just take charge and demand and whatever, like that wasn't going to work? Like if you had anything that kind of like that
There was
ever?
one that tried to kill me.
What does that
Actually,
mean? If you
I
can share.
I was going down the stairs at our house at Colonial Williamsburg.
Very steep stairs.
There's, and I had my hand on the rail, and someone picked my feet up straight in the air
Going downstairs.
from behind, and they were trying to push me over the stairs. And I had to yell for Peter, and he came and grabbed my feet and got me
So
down.
wait a minute. You can't, nobody can see anything, but this is actually
No,
physically happening.
Yes.
So this was at night during the investigation.
No, this is our home.
It was in the house.
Oh,
Right. She said she was at home.
oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
And luckily Peter was there at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it would have pushed me right over.
What did it feel like had you? Like hands
Just-
or?
Energy, just energy
Wow.
had hold of me. You couldn't feel that it was anything like we have hands. It's not.
Right.
It was just sheer energy.
So it's not like something was around your ankles. You were just being held.
My
Upside
feet
down.
were being held up. Yeah. And they were trying to push me, and Peter grabbed. Yeah.
I chased them off. I couldn't see a thing.
Wow.
Carolyn was screaming.
So
at the
could
top.
you feel the resistance, like fighting over her physical body?
When I got
Or
to
did
her,
it just let go and let you have her?
it went straight away. As soon as
Okay.
I grabbed her, it went, because the combined force of the two of us. Plus, I was pretty darn hot at that time.
Sure.
I chased it off. Obviously, we had to have some prayer sessions thereafter, and that didn't come back. But it was in the same house that Carolyn got scratched. And I think that was before, actually, when you were
It was
scratched.
before I scratched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we were watching a program from England, and it was an investigation that had been done just outside Dover. And it was on a prehistoric site. And there was something that was at this site that had been there thousands of years, something really, really nasty. And Carolyn could feel this thing, whatever it was. And she said, "I don't like this at all. Let's stop watching this," which is what we were talking about earlier on. And just as she said that, she said, "Oh," and on her left arm there were 3 wheels that had come up, like somebody had drawn their nails completely down
Wow.
her arm.
And just as fast as they showed up, they disappeared.
Yep.
Wow.
They
Where do you
didn't-
think they came from? Was it from a
They
came
came
show
from
you
that
watched?
program.
Energy from this prehistoric site.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it was fun because you could see them, but then they disappeared. They just went.
Yeah. After
Mhm.
not even minutes, they were gone.
Yeah, they were gone.
So before you would go and investigate a location, would you first do a prayer session or a psychic session to check with your guides to make sure that wherever you were going to be investigating or stay at would be safe so that you wouldn't have anything do this to you both?
We always say St. Michael's Prayer and burn sage if we, if we can, because some of the buildings are so old that you can't. Yeah.
Do you wear any protection?
Yeah, rosary.
Like cross or pentagram or rosary?
Yeah,
or...
I have. Well, we always have a rosary on us. Yeah, and I have a cross that I can wear. Yeah,
Wow.
and there was one time we did an investigation. Peter wasn't there, but we were doing it for a radio show, and it was only myself and the skeptic of the group went, and we did the investigation, and we went into there was myself and 2 girls from the radio station there, and they had all the lights out, and I could feel this man. He had raped a girl.
It's an old hotel.
Oh,
Coaching in from Wales.
Coaching, and it was old. And I knew better and I know better, but I started screaming at him. I confronted him. And I could hear Brian in the hall talking to the producer going, she knows better than that.
Yeah.
I called my car and, you know, he came and he punched me in the stomach so hard, it knocked me out of my chair and it hurt for 3 days.
Wow.
Jeez.
So you have to be so careful. Never confront anything like that. I knew better than to do it, but
Your emotions kind of got the,
yeah,
especially being a woman. Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a couple of times that have been pretty nasty.
I have
Wow.
another question from Isadora for you. She said, "What happens to a soul who has a mental illness in the living realm? Does their energy live on?" So I'm not sure if she's referring to if that person with the mental health, whether or not they, you know, they take their life or not. I'm just watching the words that I use.
I can answer that, but I'm curious what they have to say.
Yes, yeah, because they're not themselves, are they?
Because some spirits I've seen on shows and stuff, they say that sometimes when we do have certain illnesses or we live or we were a certain way or personality, once you get to the other side, um, sometimes people will heal, they will evolve, and some stay the way they are. And so I sometimes wonder too, like what Isadora was asking, how many people actually are relieved of their illness, and their traumas, and how many retain it, because there are still spirits at sanatoriums and places where people investigate, that are not residual, that are still there, that still feel like that's where they want to live. And so
But they
that's a
haven't
good
crossed
question.
over.
It's a
True.
difference.
I think as a
Yes.
soul, I just want to say this one thing and then I'll stop.
Yeah.
I think as a
You're
soul,
fine.
and that we are of source and all of that, once you've died and crossed over, I don't see why you would have your mental illness with you on the other side. That was something you experienced in this lifetime, and it was an illness.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself, in my life experiences. But last year, a friend of mine committed suicide. He was an alcoholic, but I mean, a workaholic. He was constantly working, and I get him and his wife were getting a divorce, and he didn't want to quit his job. He didn't want the divorce. And I'd known him 40 years, and his father had committed suicide with the gun, and his brother drank and drugged himself to death. And so when John couldn't take it anymore, he committed suicide the way his father did. And but I've spoken to him since, and he's very happy. He's very healthy, and he said he had to go into it was like a hospital unit to be
Healing.
healed on the other side.
Yes.
And but now he's happy, and it's gone. He says, now I know what you were talking about.
Now, do you think it's possible? Because, again, some of these shows, they talk to, these mediums, these psychics, and they say that sometimes family members or people previously in an area who have done something like that, taken their lives, can influence the living to do the same thing, especially, if they're still trapped on this earth and they haven't moved on, that energy can influence a family member or an individual that's living at that same location or nearby. Um, do you think that's possible in
I
some
I
cases?
don't think John's father or brother influenced him. I think just the knowledge that they did. John was only 2 when his father went, so he didn't even know until he was in his 20s that his father had. Yeah,
Um,
so
I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Um, and what you just said made me think of it because I wasn't pulling that together, but it did remind me of something else. So, and I know I've seen this before. I don't know where I might have even read it, but there's a belief, and it doesn't mean that it's true, that something like what Heather just said, I think is what Heather was referencing. I know has happened where like you'll have somebody that actually there's a couple of hotels where this has happened. I couldn't tell you where, I can't remember. But anyways, you'll have somebody who's mentally ill and then they're exposed to a dark whatever, ghost, demon, whatever that can influence them, and then they end up killing themselves or whatever because they're already, depressed, whatever it is that's wrong with them, you know, uh psychologically, emotionally, whatever, mental illness, whatever. That could be a lot of different things, but they're vulnerable, easily influenced,
Mm-hmm.
depressed, whatever. It's easy to take over as a ghost that is malicious or a dark energy or
Yeah,
whatever. It's been
I think
supposed that
they were
that's happened.
probably on the verge anyway. They were probably on the verge anyway.
Right. Or easily tempted to go that direction.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
just
would
a
agree.
little shove, just a little.
Yep, a nudge.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just put a disclaimer in the chat just because we are talking about, suicide and stuff. I just want to make sure that there is visibly there's a disclaimer in the chat.
right.
So we have a couple of other comments. Isadora had asked that question. She says because she had a very close relative with a mental illness and wanted to know if he's okay. So,
Aw. I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Carolyn, can she ask you if she can? Would she need to put his name in the chat, or can you just kind of hone in? Would you feel
I did
comfortable?
too, Isadora. Several, actually.
I
Yeah.
mean, my brother
Uh,
did.
I think we probably all know somebody, honestly. But I've got
mhm.
a few that are crossed over.
And my brother took his life. So, well, at least that's what police told us. We don't really know, but
And one of them, they're just gone. Like my grandmother. My grandma, actually, I don't think she was ever properly diagnosed. But once her alcoholic husband died, she got better.
yeah.
She got a lot better. So
Okay.
Is Dora?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a male?
Yes, it is a male. It's a he.
Yeah.
Would you like for her to put his first name in the chat?
Yes. His first name.
Isadora, can you go ahead and put just his first name in the chat, hon? And I am seeing some other things that I've been starring and commenting along the way. I'm just going to share them as when allowed. So as we're talking, something that Karen pointed out to me, I don't like horror movies. They fill my mind with things that don't feel good, and I agree. For me,
I don't watch horror ever.
people who like creating
watch
those movies
horror
in the
movies.
first place,
I hate
they can't be
horror.
coming from a very good, So No, I've never.
I like mysteries.
Mhm. His name is
Mysteries, but
Michael.
yeah.
Personally,
Yeah,
My
or like haunted, whatever. But horror, no. Nope.
Carolyn, his name is Michael.
yeah, Michael.
Thank you.
He's laughing. Yeah, he's laughing. He said, I'm so happy and so relieved. He said, I'm going to come see you. He said, don't be afraid, but you'll find a sign of me first, and then you'll see me.
That's beautiful.
He had a great sense of humor. Great sense of humor.
Nice. Thank you, Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick too, just a comment from early on when we first started. Kaylee was just sharing that that's how my grandmother, we were talking about how they appear to us. That's how my grandmother appeared to me in her 20s, 30s the night before her funeral. And my auntie came to me 2 weeks later looking in her 20s. She was young, beautiful, vivacious.
Yep.
It was just, it's a beautiful sight to see.
It's a thing. They do that.
They do.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
I'm doing fine.
And I don't think, obviously, because it's spirit, I don't think it's vanity necessarily. It's just, this was my prime. This is when I was my most,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I just have. Oh,
when I see John, he's the younger John. He's not the 66-year-old John with the white hair. He's the young John.
Yeah.
And he's smiling and happy. And yeah, he was an atheist, but not at the end he wasn't.
yeah. Not when they all came for him. And he
He
was like,
told me.
ooh.
He said no. He said it on something on the computer. It said religion. It said Christian, and it made my heart so happy. You're welcome, Isadora. You're welcome. But remember, it's not me. It's them.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I know that we're coming on to 9:30. We got about 10 minutes left. I don't want to keep anybody too late. I know Allyson has to go at 9:30, but Harley was sharing a story. And I was saving this till later at the end. I'm sure Harley's still here. There's like 3 parts. So her first part is about 2 years ago, there was a situation going on. I was going to sleep and the psychic showed up. I don't know if she means physically or in a dream. The energy told me to stay away, but I was curious. I didn't say anything but sent an emoji. Oh, so maybe this was a video she was watching on YouTube. When I went to sleep, something clawed at my upper arms and my heart was being crushed. Thought it was a heart attack. Immediately, I got a cross that has been gifted to me, holy water and prayers. And yes, Carol, and stuff like that definitely happens. I was thrown down the steps. So that was quite a bit. But I was figured I would save that for the end. The psychic was online. So okay, yes, you were watching. So I'm assuming Harley, you were watching a YouTube channel. I don't know if it's within. You don't have to say whether it was in our community or not, but you were in a psychic or a reader's chat, and you just put an emoji, and then you had this happen afterwards. I don't know. Any thoughts, Carolyn, Peter, on this? Was that something that came from the psychic or that was attached to the psychic that followed her into her sleep?
I didn't completely understand what she wrote. I don't know about all of you.
Well, she says about 2 years ago, there was a situation.
I read it, but I'm still not completely following it.
So what I think she's saying is that she was going to go to sleep. and there was because she said later on here it was online. The psychic was online. She was starting to watch something before going to sleep. And then after she went to sleep, after, just putting an emoji, I guess saying hi or whatever, after she did that, went to bed, then she went to sleep, and then it felt like she was attacked. She said something clawed at her arms. She felt like she was having a heart attack. She got her cross and her holy water and her prayers. And, that was her story that she wanted to share. And she said also that she has been thrown down steps. So,
Which is
I
two
think maybe,
completely separate things, I assume.
yeah. No, it just popped up. Harley, we're having a little hard time follow you. Definitely not our community. At that time, I had walked away from all the gifts. I followed no one. Okay. So I'm not sure then exactly, Harley.
I feel a male standing behind her.
A good
There
one,
were,
good or bad in this situation? Are we referring to the bad
no,
situation that she's?
this is the one that pushed her downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. But I'm just saying when it happened, there was a male that,
Okay.
but this is she knew this male, and he had a grudge, or
She
was
says it
at
was at
church.
church. Yeah, just because
Well,
it's at church.
hey, believe me, churches can
Mm-hmm.
have.
Probably a lot of stuff like that at a church.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was a male, and she knew him. She knew who it was.
Interesting. Okay, Harley. I hope that helped. Now somebody new came into chat, Lisa. Lisa, we're just finishing up shortly, but she says, I've heard if it's not on your life path, a suicide will not be successful. I can attest because people know my story. I attempted,
I don't think you
but
ever
I'm
write a
here.
suicide into your life path. I don't even see how I understand how it can happen, but I think that anytime you do it, and I just have to say this, doesn't mean I'm right, but I don't believe that we would be allowed to write that into our life path, because that affects everybody else's life, and it's not up to us to take our own life. I just don't think that's something we write into our life path. I don't know how the three of you feel about that, but personally, I don't believe it.
I think a lot of it depends on our upbringing and what we experience personally in our own bodies.
Right, you decide it, you choose it, but you don't, before you come into this lifetime, I'm going to commit suicide when I'm 25. You don't write a suicide in your life path.
No. This is a personal on earth decision.
Okay.
Correct. Thank you. That's a good way to, yes. That's not a spiritual choice before you come into life to choose suicide.
Yeah.
Well, we are almost at 9:24. We have covered all the comments. And oh, wait a minute, I missed one. I'm so sorry, Marby. Here, hold on, sweetheart. Let me bring this up. She was a story that she was sharing. I was pregnant with my daughter. One midnight, I felt something heavy and dark, and I was trying to, maybe pray, but I could not pray. It took me a while until I could pray and felt it was done. So she's sharing that something came up to her when she was pregnant, and she prayed, and it left her alone. Wow, that's scary. For me, I would do that, and the thing would still, I had to wait for the thing was done when I thought I wasn't being affected by it, and then it would leave me alone. Prayers never protected me from this thing. So I think it just has to do with maybe that spirit's religious connection in life, maybe, or that's the one thing I find interesting. Maybe we can share that for the next show. Why some some spirits can be banished or removed, with, like an exorcism or a prayer or a cleansing, whereas some others, they just laugh at you, and it takes something else. I know people who have had to get shamans people who had to reach out to a witch doctor or a Wiccan or a male witch to be able to address certain souls or entities to get them to move on or to leave. So I think that would be a really interesting topic if if that's okay with you, Carol and Peter, maybe for next time.
Yeah.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us, Carol and Peter. As always, it was such a pleasure to have you both. Thank you for sharing your stories. Allyson, I love having you on, and I'm sure my chatters do too. Again, I wish Jenny would have stayed to kind of share her experience with us so we could understand where, what her point of view was. But thank you, chat, for being respectful. I appreciate that. I pride myself in the fact that we stay respectful and keep open communication. And that happened tonight. And thank you, everybody, for being willing to share their stories. And again, Carolyn and Peter, thank you for joining Allyson and I. And they will be back hopefully next month when Heather's schedule gets all figured out. And Rhonda Q, an interesting conversation. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Carolyn, Peter. And you're welcome. And everybody. Allyson, was there anything you wanted to add before we go?
No, this was great. You guys, I love having you guys on. It's awesome. It's great fun.
We
All right,
we
and
love
Good
you.
info. If, like I
Yes.
said, we'll think of like a way to, I don't know, Heather and I will chat about it, but
Yeah,
come up with something and like to have like a topic or whatever.
that would be great. At least a little jumping point to open up the
Yeah.
conversation and see where it
Mhm.
goes. Oh, Karen says y'all are my favorite. Aw.
Oh,
Oh,
she's
you.
so sweet.
So yes, everybody. I'll be back Sunday night with Jeff as long as his, he has, his internet still and fixes out his technique issues for the poetry and the tarot. And everybody have a great and safe weekend. And we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
okay.